Welcome inside the Seneca Studios. I'm Maddie Glab with your Bills Jets halftime report. This past summer has been one of the most important in our nation's history. Events locally and across the country have led to increased awareness of so many important issues affecting each and every one of us, including members of the NFL. Like so many athletes, the Buffalo Bills have a platform to help bring many of these social issues to the forefront of the conversation. And this week, the NFL has given the players an opportunity to shine a light on a cause important to them, as the athletes look to inspire change.
I think it's important because I think whenever you have a situation out there and you're trying to get people to follow, they need those type of leaders and they need people that they look up to for guidance. And I think just us being on the NFL level, a lot of people look up to us. So, if we're promoting these things, if we're getting our words out, if we're using our voices and using our platform, a lot of people will follow things that we do.
As a kid, I looked up to guys in my position that I'm in now. So I understand what it's like to have a role model and want to see good things out of him because I wanted to emulate that person.
It's important to me just because, for the people who doesn't have a voice or their voice won't be heard, just to speak up for them, and something has to change. It's been going on forever, so we need to see some type of progress.
It's important to speak out on social causes that are important to you. And as being an African American in this country, it's been difficult, and I have people back home reaching out to me, asking me my opinions, as well as family members. So I think it's huge for me to speak where I stand on it, because it's been difficult.
I chose Black Lives Matter for my helmet decal because I personally feel that there's a lot of wrong that's going on in this world. And I wanted to make sure emphasis is being put on that. And I want to show my support to follow the movement. Black people in general have been going through this stuff for a long time. And, I think it's a time where, everybody just wants to make sure that, voices are being heard and the movement is being heard. So, I wanted to be part of that movement and, show that I support it, show that I'm all for it, and make sure that the whole world understands that, we're behind it, or I'm behind it, and make sure emphasis is being put on that.
I'm still trying to understand why the people who are sworn to protect and serve Americans are still shooting Americans in their backs. They're still shooting and killing Americans by stepping on their necks and things like that. We're still waiting for those days to come where African American men and women will be treated with the same respect as other Americans have been getting throughout this entire time in this country.
I chose Black Lives Matter because, we all need to be treated equally. And, it's just tough, to see the things that we're going through. And, it's time for a change.
When it's not right, everybody should know it's not right. And not saying that it's not right just because, it's our skin color, that was done to another individual, another race. That's still wrong, So as in me, that's why I recognize it. And it's been a lot happening to guys our color.
I don't choose to simply remember Miss Breonna Taylor or Mr. George Floyd. The brutal and absolutely unnecessary actions that define their tragic deaths provoke my response. This statement was produced from a need to communicate to all who are still processing the hypocrisy of serve and protect.
So I chose Stop Hate because I'm a Christian and I'm taught that I'm supposed to love people the way that I love myself. And whether it doesn't matter what race you are, it doesn't matter how old or young you are, everyone's supposed to love everyone. And that's clearly stated in the Bible, and that's what I believe in. It's just really unfortunate, a lot of the hate that we're seeing right now in the world.
So I'm using the phrase "stop hate" just because it needs to stop. Spread love, spread positive vibes. All this hate going on, of course you want to be able to stop all the hate, but a lot of it needs to stop, you know what I'm saying? So I want to get that out there, put that in front of people, and hopefully it makes a difference.
I can only speak for myself. Stop hate. It's such a small phrase with such a huge meaning, and you can't really put a lid on stop hate. You know, it's for me, it's easier to love, and it's easier to. It's what human beings are meant to do. You know, hate. There's a mental block that can be broken down, even no matter how deep-seated it may be. It's just, as human beings, we're supposed to love.
I want to honor Elijah McClain because when I read the story and seen the headlines of what happened, it was just shocking. And just to hear that when the officer was doing what he was doing, Elijah was expressing like how much of a good job he was doing, but also it was killing him at the same time. And it just hit home, and it was just like, wow, like such an innocent person. If it could happen to him, it could happen to anybody.
I chose Ahmaud Arbery simply because I think that one, the video affected me the most, honestly. You know, I was here in Buffalo training during the off season since I had surgery, and I would go running around Buffalo, you know, trails and neighborhoods and stuff like that. And just to see how easily that could have been me, you know, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. My brother, he ran track, you know, and we did the same thing all the time, just going on trails and running. It made me sick to my stomach, you know, just to be racial profiled and think that, you know, you look like a burglary or a burglar that happened around the neighborhood. You know, it's because of the color of your skin.
I chose the message, it takes all of us to put on the back of my helmet, because it does. I mean, simply put, it's going to take every single one of us to make change. And we're doing some amazing initiatives here in Buffalo. I've been working with kids, lower income and minorities for a long time through my nonprofit organizations, but you can't do it alone.
Collectively, as a country, we need to come together. We need to unite. We need to become one. I think at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. And loving your neighbor and doing things for the better of the community.
It does take all of us. You know, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, yellow, purple. It's going to take all of us to solve this problem, solve these issues that are going around.
It's not about one side or the other side. It's about everyone doing their part. This country needs to come together, and one side can't get it done. It takes both sides. And if everybody come together and put aside their pride and really learn each other, the country will be so much better.
For more information about the Bills' racial justice initiatives, visit buffalobills.com. At each home game this year, a Buffalo Bills player will design a t-shirt that represents a cause important to him. And we figured who better to start it off than one of our own defensive captains, Jerry Hughes.
I'm excited to do this.
Excellent. So I'm Aaron Laporta. I'm the creative director for the Buffalo Bills. So I just wanted to talk through this t-shirt design that you're going to be collaborating with us and our team on. This should embody who you are as a person. You know, this should be kind of, some descriptive words or personal qualities that you'd like us to keep in mind as we're putting something together as far as concepts. Are there any words that just jump out at you that you like, people to think of when they think of Jerry Hughes?
For starters, Black Lives Matter. I would love to have that on the front canvas there. Maybe with a little 55 at the end of it, however you want to tag it. I've been giving it quite some thought ever since I got told that I get the opportunity of creating a t-shirt. We have different fists that are up in the air, and they're all raised at the same height, so it symbolizes equality, all with the same message that when we say Black Lives Matter, we mean equality for everyone.
Well, this is the first one that everybody's going to see, for the start of the 2020 season. So I think you're going to set the bar very high here.
Once they see this, they don't need to see any more. They'll be asking for more. So y'all get ready. Plenty of them. Oh man, this is nice. This is what I'm talking about right here. Guys, oh, that's amazing right here. Artwork becomes a reality right here.
If you would like one of these fan boxes that includes a Jerry Hughes t-shirt, you can find them at billsfanboxes.com. Beginning today and continuing for each of the remaining games here at Bills Stadium, the players will have the chance to honor a local group who's striving to make a difference in the area. With that story, here's Chris Brown.
The Buffalo Bills are proud to introduce the winner of the Inspire Change Organization of the Game Award. This initiative honors a local organization that enriches our community as selected by our players at each Bills home game. This week, the Bills players have chosen to recognize Breaking Barriers Youth Leadership Council. The mission of Breaking Barriers Youth Leadership Council is to create a unified voice that advocates for racial equity, social justice, and policy change, with the ultimate goal to strengthen and improve life outcomes for young males of color in the greater Buffalo community. Breaking Barriers is an initiative of the Greater Buffalo Radical Equity Roundtable's Boys and Men of Color that is aimed at accelerating positive outcomes for boys and young men of color across the cradle-to-career continuum. Areas of focus include early childhood, college access and readiness, career pathways, and economic opportunity, and criminal justice and public safety. On behalf of his teammates, Bills safety Micah Hyde congratulates Breaking Barriers Youth Leadership Council and presents them with a ceremonial game ball as well as a donation to help them continue their mission of opening doors and minds to create respectful communication, ultimately to connect diverse communities to each other.
Thanks, Chris, and thank you for joining us for this week's halftime show.